Everyone, Leanne here from Kingdom Blogger. So, have you heard the news? MediaVine has created a new program to allow smaller Christian blogs, well, any blog, smaller publishers, to be able to start earning ad revenue through their company. So, they have a new program called Journey specifically for websites that have 10,000 or more. So, you still need to be at the 10,000 mark. But this is really great news. MediaVine is one of the premier ad revenue companies. All of the tools and things that they provide are lightweight. So they, web core vitals and all that. But also the companies that pay out the most tend to work with them. And so I am super excited because I know, especially with ACU and everything, knocking people's traffic down and then trying to get to that 50K for those of you who are almost there, this provides a kind of interim alternative. But there's more. So you have to have the plugin installed on your site. It's called the Grow plugin, and it's free. You just install it, but you need it running on your site for a minimum of 30 days so that it can start collecting data. That way, when you do apply, they've got data to look at and kind of determine if it's going to be worth it for them to put the ads on your site. Because at the end of the day, they have to make money, and that's the goal of all this. So they're going to look at things like where your traffic comes from and stuff like that. I do want to preface this with saying they haven't specifically said this, but one of for Journey, but for the regular MediaVine program, one of their criteria is that the majority of your traffic has to come from the US, but more specifically, it can't come from the majority. Like you can have traffic, but it can't be the majority of your traffic from countries like Africa, and there's certain other countries, and this is kind of within all of the ad revenue companies. So, if you're at like 10,000 sessions, but 8,000 of it comes from Africa or certain other countries, and it's in their criteria on the MediaVine website, then you probably wouldn't qualify. But these are the kinds of things they're going to look at when they like the 30-day analytics. These are the little things they're going to look at. Also, where your traffic's coming from, time on site, like how much time they're staying on your site, because if your site's spammy and it's really serving no value, they can kind of tell if your traffic comes from click-through threads. I'll just put it that way. And y'all know how I feel about click-through threads. Please don't do them to reach your 10K, because MediaVine, the company, can determine that by looking at your analytics. They see the IP addresses. It's the same ones all the time, and they're only on the site for like a half second, and then they click off. Don't do them. Work on organic traffic through Pinterest or Google or things like that, or even Facebook groups. I mean, that's okay. But all right, so let's move on. What I really want to talk about is the Grow plugin. This plugin is so awesome. I've always kind of wished they would open this plugin up to people outside of MediaVine because it is such a great tool. So I'm going to come in here because a few people have already asked, like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. So let's hop over to my screen here. So once you, I'm going to put the link for you to do all of this stuff in the notes below for the video. And so once you initiate the process, it's going to have you create a profile on Grow, an account, and then you're going to go through a series of steps. It's like a wizard about entering, your URL and all of that stuff. And so once you get it set up, this is going to be your dashboard. Now, I already have 2 sites on it, so I just added my 3rd site last night. So let's kind of go in here and look. So once you get it set up, so we're going to look at this BSP one here. You have Grow settings, subscribe settings, auto mailer, and user permissions. So in the Grow settings, we're going to look at the general. So this is just your basic, enter your site's name, how it will show up, right? Like spelled out properly. Grow Labs and Google Analytics. You definitely want to connect it to Google Analytics. Now, if you have a logo, you can add that right here. And actually, let me click over here to mine that's already set up. So I have a logo here. So you want to take care of all these. Just go through each one, get it set up. Appearance. There's some things here. I didn't really change anything on this setting. I just left it at the default. If you have exclusive content that's sort of like only for subscribers, you could set it up through here. So it's like a widget that shows up that's built into the plugin. you have a freebie library or a vault or something like that. This is a great way to manage it. It also comes with social sharings. So you can do Facebook, Pinterest, and I don't know what this one is. Copy link. Oh, copy a link to the post. Okay. So what this is, once the plugin is up and running on your site, over here on the bottom right corner, you see this little blue heart and this little widget looking thing. So the thing with the plugin, so let me back up a little. Last month, February, we all had to deal with our email and talking about third-party tracking and all that going away and cookies, and we had to get a domain email. And there's just a lot of stuff happened in February. So once someone has the Grow plugin on their site, when someone takes action, a reader takes action, they can choose to create a Grow profile, if you will, to where they log in to be able to see stuff. And when they do that, the plugin itself will maintain that tracking data. The tracking data is actually important because the way ad revenue works, 5 people could visit this website. Each one of them is going to see different ads based on their past browser search history. So what kind of sites they're looking at, that's the kind of ads that are going to show up for them. And with third-party tracking kind of being impacted recently, that kind of impacts the tracking for ad purposes. So this is like a self-contained thing to help increase your ad revenue earnings once you're in the program. And so it's really a cool thing. And that's why I say MediaVine is really great about creating products that help us maintain higher revenue, but also makes for a good user experience. So in this is built a social sharing for Pinterest and Facebook, because these are kind of the 2 most popular places that content is shared. And so they create an account. And so all the data, and if they come back to your site, if they're people that continually come back, that's even better. And so that's what that is. So you can set that up. And then search, they can do a site search that comes up. Let me see if I can find it on here. Search. And this comes up. And so, it's just like they can see other content, and it's more visually in their face. It looks a little different on mobile, of course. Okay, so you would toggle all these on. Recommended content. This is really cool because, your internal linking process. So this is where we put internal links like within the content itself for them to click over and read another blog post. Of course, you have your after at the end of the blog post, the after post widget for related content or up next or whatever. But this puts some additional ones, and it's strategically placed in places that have proven to be high converting space on your site. One in particular that I love is the header carousel on desktop. And so what that is, get out of this. When a user, and it's going to be kind of hard for you to see it because I have, actually, let me do it incognito. So you don't see my black line at the top. Okay. So let's just click on one of these blog posts. Okay, so watch up here at the very top underneath the black line. As I'm scrolling about, I don't know, a third, this thing pops up. Well, so does this. I'll talk about this in a minute. Let me get a little further down. There we go. And so this carousel shows up on desktop and gives them a more visual view right in their line of sight. Of course, you have some on your sidebar if you have a sidebar. Of course, the internal link, but this gets visual, like right in their face of other things that might prompt them to want to take action and click through and read something else. This carousel is very high converting for desktop users. All right, let me close that. Okay, so, and then what's next on mobile? It'll put a little thing down on the, I think the bottom right corner on a mobile. So it gives them recommendations for something to read next if they hadn't already clicked through. And then there's some other ones as well. If you do recipes, you've got recipe card, save cards, things like that. I don't do recipes. Text customizations, I don't do any of that. Now, okay, so this is this page. So you definitely want to go through and get all of these set up because as you mentioned, it has just, these are great features. Also, you can see on desktop, if I go to the end of the post, right here is my normal one. Where'd it go? There's usually an inline thing that pops up. It might not because I'm logged in. but it puts them in between paragraphs, but they look nice. So it's not like an adsy kind of thing. All right, so another benefit of this is the subscribe settings. So that box that popped up, and I said I'll talk about that in a minute, right there, subscribe. This is the thing I wish for the longest time when I started using, I was like, wow, this would be so cool if non-MediaVine users could use this. I get more conversions, more signups through this subscribe box than I do any of my own opt-ins that are set up. And so you can set that up in here. I have two. I'm guessing you can have two as well. I don't know if there's a difference in whether you're in this program or you're in the real MediaVine. But actually, I could set it up over here. Here's BSP, subscribe settings. So you would go through and create a form and all of that. And what happens, let me do my Kingdom because it's set up really well. I call it, the Faith subscribe is just, for my knowledge, the name of it. I don't have a pop-up, the regular pop-up. That thing I showed you was not a pop-up. That's a Spotlight subscribe form. And I'll show you that. But even if you don't have an email list yet, like you've not with ConvertKit or MailerLite, you haven't done any of that, and you kind of want to test the waters a bit before diving into that. And again, y'all know I don't recommend starting an actual email list until you've actually started getting content. But if you're at 10,000, that might be a good time. But you don't want that expense. This is sort of built into it. Now, there are limitations to it. But what happens is they can sign up, and then the Spotlight program, the Grow plugin itself will send out a newsletter, which is like a roundup of different posts. But what the reader sees in their email is tailored to them and their cookie history and the data that's in the plugin. And so you and I could get the same email from them that week, whatever goes out, but yours will look different than mine because the posts that are put in yours are going to be tailored to what you've been looking for on the site. And so I think it sends it out every 2 weeks. I get it as a test, but I don't really pay attention to it. Now, if you do have ConvertKit or MailerLite, you can put the integration in here. And so it automatically, you create a tag inside ConvertKit or whatever it's called in MailerLite and connect it right here so that when they do sign up through that form on the Spotlight Grow, then it automatically puts them in to ConvertKit or MailerLite into whatever sequence you want. It can go right into your welcome sequence. It can go into a tag that then goes into a welcome sequence. So it's really cool because the integration is built in. Now, if you're with a different email service, you can still use it. The only thing is this right here, you would have to manually download this CSV file. And this integration with MailerLite and ConvertKit is fairly new. I think in the last year, they finally got the integration because before that, we also had to do this process. So every Sunday after church, I'd come home and I would export subscribers and then I would import that into my MailerLite. And I would import it in and assign it to a tag called Grow so that I knew these subscribers came from this and that's how they were imported in. You always have to have a paper trail about how people ended up in your email list. And so adding via the tag is a great way. So this is great because this is a very high converting opt-in form. It's not even an opt-in form. It's just a, hey, sign up. You can make it look however you want. So down here are two of my forms. So this one's for my Faith subscribers. This is for my blogging tips. And I mean, you can see the form here. You can tailor it to say whatever you want it to say, and then what happens once they sign up. This feature alone is a huge benefit for lower publishers, at the 10,000, because this can help you get more subscribers. This can help you if you are monetizing and you have a strategy. If you don't have a strategy, you're not going to make any money. But it can also help you get more traffic because the more people on your email list that are getting those weekly or biweekly emails with links to your blog, that increases your sessions. The goal is to increase the sessions to your blog. And so that is one of the benefits of having an email list if you're using it correctly. But this is sort of an auto thing. And so then we have the auto mailer, and this is what I was talking about. It's built in. And so again, I don't know how often it's set up to send out. Actually, it might be here. Oh, no, this is just to make how it looks. You can preview an email right here. So this is on desktop how it will look, but it's sort of like now this is for mobile, like a newsletter. It's just like blocks. There's not a lot of blah blah blah. There's none of the person talking. It's literally just a roundup for them to click through and see if there's anything they want. So it's kind of like the old style in WordPress where people could just like subscribe to your blog, and then every time you publish a new post, they would get an email. It's kind of like that, only it's a roundup instead of every post. It's, I think, a weekly or bi-weekly roundup. So this is a really great extra benefit of having this plugin. And user permissions, that's just who all has access to this. So if you have other people like a VA or something, you can give them access here. So anyway, this plugin is awesome. Like I said, just having this up here, they have there's a different one for mobile viewing. It's called Up Next, and you can have it on the right side of the screen or the left side, things like that. Let's see what else. There's recommended content in the sidebar. That's part of the plugin. And then, of course, the thing at the end. So all in all, this is a really good thing for Christian content creators. But you do, in order to apply this journey, like I said, you have to have this running on your site for 30 days. At the end of that 30 days, you can go ahead and apply. Oh, and how do you apply, you ask? Great question. Let me show you. So let me go back to my newest site, BSP, grow settings. At the top of the page, because I'm with MediaVine already on the other two sites, so this doesn't show. So if you're not with MediaVine and you're trying to reach it, this banner right here is going to be at the top of your profile. And so once you've been doing this for 30 days, give it, on the 31st day or whatever, then come here and apply, and then we'll start the process. Now, I don't know what that process is for this program because it's brand new. I know for regular MediaVine, it took a good 4 to 6 weeks because they take a deep dive into your Google Analytics. They're going to look for not just, they've got 10,000 sessions. That's not what they look at. They look at where is it coming from? Is it mostly US based, or there's a few other countries that it's okay? And I will actually put a link to their regular MediaVine requirements. I will put that link in the video as well so you can read through all of that. I'm guessing that same criteria is going to apply here because, again, it's about the revenue, earnings potential, and things like that. But they're going to look at where your traffic's coming from. They're going to look for signals that imply false traffic. What is false traffic? That is those click-through threads. If you are doing click-through threads, they will know that because they can see, like I mentioned before, it's the same IP addresses over and over and over who are on the site for like a half hot second and then they're gone. That's an indicator that your traffic is false. Or if you've gotten hit with a lot of bot traffic, which I know the bots have been active lately, especially from certain countries. I think Poland was one recently. If that's where a lot of your traffic is coming from, don't apply. If that's what's gotten you to the 10,000, because they're not going to accept it. And so it needs to be legitimate, genuine traffic. And I've been saying this for years now. So if you've followed me for any amount of time, you know how I feel about click-through threads and things like that. Pinterest, Google organic, Yahoo being all the search engines, that's called organic traffic. If you have a really active Facebook group, so I have a friend who has a Bible study Facebook group, and they do Bible studies, but the content of the study is blog posts on her site. And so as a result, a lot of her traffic comes from her Facebook group. Now, Facebook pages, it's kind of hard to get traffic from those unless you're paying for ads, which I don't recommend. But there are other ways to get traffic. There's a lot of really creative ways you can boost it to where it's natural and organic. But these are the kinds of things they look for. I know for both of my sites, it took about 4 to 6 weeks before I got the official okay, because they really, they go deep into your analytics. So don't think you can pull a fast one on them by doing some random stuff to hurry up and get to 10,000, because they will know how, what's the word? Whether that traffic is authentic or if it was a rushed method to hurry up and get to the 10K. They will know that. So just don't do it. work on creating authentic content, build your content in an authentic and honest way. And then when you get to the 10K, you can go ahead and apply. So that's kind of it. Again, I'm super excited. This is going to help so many creators because MediaVine is great. Their ads are clean, they're customizable. You can turn off ads that you don't want. Like I don't have, say, smoking ads on my site, things like that. So they're very easy to tailor and they're clean on your site. So they don't weigh heavy, but they're also not spammy and all over the place. You can control how many ads are there, but they go by the recommendations from Google for the ratio of ads per how much content and so forth. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. I've been using Grow for several years now and I love it. And so, again, I'm just excited for you guys. This is going to really help some of you who are at that 10K, or those of you who maybe were on your way to 50 and Google HCU just knocked you down, so that you can start earning some good revenue with your website. So, all right, guys, drop your comments below or hop over to my Facebook group. Let me know what your questions are, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.